well this snowy Thursday morning. Doesn't look like we have anyone on the chat yet, but it's fine. I don't mind chatting to myself. I don't know why my background is so inconsistent. It's being a little annoying. See, move this. Okay, looks okay. Yes, I'm in my jammies, my pajamas. Um, my pajamas have buttons on them because that's just how I roll. And because time doesn't matter, so like literally none of this matters, and um, who actually cares? Time has lost all meaning, and yeah, it's just not a who really cares. It's not. It just is. It is what it is. Whatever. Hopefully you're doing well. Hope you're doing better than me. Everything is closed, which means my son can't go to daycare, which means I have to take care of him, and my wife will be at work. So hopefully there won't be any disruptions from the little one. Okay, hopefully you're all doing well, all one of my viewers. It's good to see you, single person, whoever you happen to be. We want to talk a little bit about coding and playing around with some code and kind of just mess around with stuff. So let's get into it and kind of play around with some of these things. Let's see. What did I want to do? What did I want to do? Let me try to load up some of my examples. Oh, this isn't going to actually work, is it? No, that's not going to work how I wanted it to. I can't actually do that because I don't have the stupid thing I was expecting to have. What can I do? No, I don't want to do promises today. We haven't talked about promises yet. Oh, I can do timeouts. Yeah, set timeout. That's one I can do. That sets up things. Let's do that. I'm gonna have it call something else, but yeah, we can do this. This will be fun. Oh, is it super quiet? I bet it's. Oh, I know why. I bet it's resting on one of my other things. Is that a little better now? Hopefully you can hear me a little clearly. Yeah, I forgot my microphone was. I usually use these for the microphone, and I hadn't turned them on. So hopefully you can hear better than what you. Yeah, that looks like it should be a bit better. And yeah, so hopefully that's. You can hear me better. Okay. Okay, sound check is done. Let's check out some other things. Slightly. That's not good. Let's see. Where's my default mic? Oh, that's it. Because I didn't have this on. Okay, compressor, noise gate, noise suppressor, save. Is that better? That should be like way louder now. I wasn't using these still. I was using the laptop mic. Let me see. See if I could do a sound check. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yep, okay, that sounds better to me. Hopefully that's improved for you. Ah, great. Okay, thank you for letting me know. My setup was all screwed up, so I appreciate that. Oh, we have 2 people on the chat. That's always good. Good to see you all. So let's kind of get into it a bit today. Yeah, if you don't have anything better to talk about or want to chat about, I'm happy to kind of mess around with some other things of kind of showing whatchamacallit. I don't know, kind of playing around with some code and like doing some other weird stuff. So what do I actually want to do today? Call it for that. Let's maybe make like a function. I wanted to do a little bit of like async functions, but it's kind of hard because I don't actually want to show like, I don't have like other things I actually want to get into that much, or like actually find async functions to kind of get around with. But we can still kind of play around. We can do some other stuff. So I don't know. Let's do something stupid like we always do. Let me see. Do something like this. And I don't know. Console log. X. Okay. Then I'm going to change this to cat. Like that, and this should actually work. I think so. I think this will actually work. Let's see. Let's see. That did not work. Did not work at all. Set timeout. I want it a bit longer. Let's make it like 4 seconds. Clear run. That was definitely longer than 4 seconds. My set timeout is not working the way I was expecting it to work. Try this again. Nope. That should be 4 seconds. That should be like a good long while. Yeah, that's definitely not. Yeah, the async functions and things like that. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. Let's do something else. I can't get the set. I can't remember how set timeout works. So let me actually look up grabbing like a web page. We can do that. XML HTTP request. Dan. Haha. Okay. So I'm going to copy and paste some stupid code to get this, just to give like an example of this and kind of go through it some more. So there's a bunch of ways of like grabbing other web pages and doing stuff with them. And one of those is XML HTTP request. I'm trying to find a good example of it though. That's really annoying. I don't want the full definition. I just want like an example. There we go. Using this. Let's try that. Ah, okay. So we got listener, that's that response text. That load, example, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah, let's play with this. This is a good example of code. Okay. I'm gonna steal this. And this isn't gonna work because example.org like isn't real. But oh, I don't know. Let's do this instead. Let's look at the Lehigh page. Oh, there we go. .edu. Load. Request listener. Add listening event. On load. Making sure I'm doing everything right. I don't use this very often. I normally use fetch for these things, so I actually don't remember how XML HTTP XML works. I have to remember because I don't use it super often. Yep, that's just changing other things. Open, array, buffer, send, onload. Yep, I don't want to use an array buffer. What else we got? Add a listener to load, progress, error, abort, open. Yep. Okay, yeah, that's just other junk. So this should actually do something. Page. I can't spell today. Okay, response text. Yep, this should all work 100%. Okay, let's try it. Let's clear this. Let's run it. Might take some time, or it might not work. I might have totally screwed something up. probably screwed something up. Gosh darn it. I really thought I had that going. Good. Oh, fuck, the CORS policy. Yeah. Oh, god damn it. I totally forgot about that. The CORS policy. So this would work. When you're accessing content or JavaScript or things that's on a page or resource that's not your own, it tends to complain about what you're doing, and it complains about that. Let's actually just do this. I'm gonna try something really stupid. That's not anything with the web standard or spec or anything like that. That's literally a security feature built in browser. So CORS is oh god, I don't even remember what it stands for. It's like cross origin requests something. I don't know. I'm gonna come up here. Basically, it's your browser will block any type of requests that are coming from a separate domain than the web page you're currently at. So if the web page you're visiting is asking for a bunch of resources from another domain, and there's no core policy set for both of those, then it's going to block that, because that's a very common way of attack. You know what I mean? You're on one web page, you're using someone's web page, but underneath it, it's actually like accessing your bank credentials, or like trying to go to your bank account, or take you to an attacker's site, or other stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's a security measure against that. Browsers will block any type of HTTP request that you're asking for that's different, that's on a different domain than the web page you're currently at. Now you can do that, because if we didn't have a way of fixing that, or actually doing that type of thing, then like all of our libraries and APIs and all the stuff would fail. So to get around that, different APIs and sites and libraries that need that have a special CORS policy. They write that into headers of their request and response headers. So they basically tell the browser that, oh, it's okay to like pull data from me, or it's okay to pull some JavaScript from me. Like this is totally allowed. And the web page can say the same thing. Like, yeah, it's totally fine. So there's some agreement that it's okay to do, then the browser will let it go through. But if there's not, then it's gonna block it. It's going to block because there was thing. And the reason why it was blocked here was because there was no access control allowed origin header even set or present. So if there's nothing even in the headers about a CORS policy, it's going to assume the most restrictive CORS policy there is, just completely block it. So like by default, it's blocked. You have to write like a special header inside of your request and response from the server to be able to actually get something. We're going to talk more about that later when we get into HTTP, when we start getting to the HTTP section and stuff like that. So we will get into that, but you don't need to worry about it like right now. Like it's totally fine. So let's kill that. This should work, because we're on the same server. Oh no, it's not. It's not working. That's fun. Why are you not working? Oh, really? Oh my goodness. It's still JSBin. It's still the same. It's the same thing. Copy linkages. Let's try this then. I guess it's actually looking at the subdomain. It says like there's not even one in the subdomain. Ah, Jesus. Okay, let's try this. Or now, are you gonna be happy? There we go. Okay. Let's kill this. So it actually worked. There's nothing there though. Yeah, it's completely empty. There's nothing there. Let's actually just see if you could print off like what this is. I'm kind of curious. Yes, I get that. It's an HTTP object. Okay, it's a request object. Nice. Apparently there's no response text, because I bet there's nothing here. I bet this is like actually what's running the JavaScript for JSBin. I bet it's in another thing. I bet this is like a domain that really doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, it doesn't really have anything there to do it. There is a way to set the core, or I could find something that already has the CORS policy set with it. Oh, I know. Reddit should work. If I do something like Reddit, let's check out this. Um, I don't know. Let's go look at PSN sales. So I don't know if you know this, but Reddit is like its own like API. We'll talk more about what that means in further classes. But you can always ask a JSON file from any Reddit page because it actually defaults as being like JavaScript already, so or JSON. So you can always ask for JSON from it. So let's try that, and it should have the course policy set up to do something like this. This should actually work. So let's try this again. Oh, I didn't do the response text, didn't I? Did I get that right? I bet I didn't. I bet I misspelled that. Yeah, I did misspell. God damn it. Um, oh, Jesus Christ. XML request. Let's go back to our example. No, not with credentials. I don't give a shit about that. I just want to use it. Okay, let's try this. Yep. I guess I could just get the response from it, right? Onload, network error, received, get, response, load, progress, status text, response. Let's just do this. I'm kind of curious. This should work. Aha, there we go. That's a crap ton of stuff. That's a bunch of JSON. See, look at all that stuff. That's a lot. Actually, that's a crap ton. I probably shouldn't have put it all on there. But so what we basically just did is like ask for a giant JSON file that came from Reddit. So let's kind of talk a little bit more about like what's actually happening here. Now that I got this working, we can actually like go through. So XML HTTP request, which is a stupid name because it doesn't need to use XML anymore. This is what we used to call AJAX because that was the only way to do it. Just kind of before JSON kind of became a more popular data encoding standard. Sorry. So this is a way. This library. This browser API XML HTTP request basically allows you. It's a callback based library that allows you to grab HTML pages, or basically just use HTTP. You know what I mean? Like you can grab anything from using HTTP. But to do that, we know that it's going to take a while, right? Like it's not instantaneous. We don't know when the network is going to respond back to our request. It could respond immediately. It could be really slow. It could be really fast. There'd be lots of different reasons about how or why this does or does not work. So we need some way to be able to notify us of when things are safe to use, when it's okay to do something. And that's kind of what we're doing here. So what I'm saying here is, yeah, I've created a new object, you know, this XML HTTP request object. This is a constructor, if you notice here. We're using the new operator. So that means we're creating a new instance of this class, this HTTP request. This is a constructor. We don't have any arguments to it, though we could give it arguments. I think for XML HTTP request, you could set arguments for like what you want to be like in headers, like your user. Oh, sorry, super yachty today. Like a user agent string and stuff like that. Don't worry about what that means. We're going to talk a lot. We're going to talk a lot more about HTTP specifically after our JavaScript module. So this will all make sense, more sense later. All you need to know is that this is going to grab. This is a library that grabs any type of file over HTTP and using that some way. So here I'm adding an event listener. So basically what I'm telling this object, this is the new object I've created, the new instance of this class that I just created. And now this has like a bunch of things attached to it. It's an object that has a bunch of elements and methods and things attached to it. One of those methods is add event listener. And I'm specifically asking this event listener that when this page has finished loading, whenever that happens, if that is going to happen, whenever this is finished loading, that event, on that event, if that event occurs, run this this function. Is there a function that just returns the status of the thread? So don't think about this as multiple threads, because it's not really. The JavaScript is a single threaded environment. Like not really. We were going to get more into specifics when we talk about Node, but from your perspective as just writing JavaScript, just think of it as a single thread of control. There is no multiple threads. There's no other things kind of going through and stuff like that. This tells you this is different than thread-based programming, which is what you're describing in like C and other programming environments. This is event-based programming. So we handle multiple like long events and multiple events taking place at the same time through events. And those events, when something that happens or when one of those events occur, we have a way of telling it to do something else. Like when this happens, do this. When this happens, do this. And that's basically what I'm saying here. Oh, I actually killed whatever I had there. That's not cool. So basically what I'm saying here is, I actually want this to be that. There we go. I don't know why, I don't know how I messed that up. This should still, let me clear, let me make sure this still works. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so I didn't fuck anything up. Okay, so basically what I'm saying here is when this load event occurs, you know what I mean, like what's going on, call this function. Now the library has no idea what this function does, and it doesn't care. It has no idea what request listener is. All it knows is that request listener is a function, and that's it. And it knows that it could probably pass it some things. It might try to give it some arguments. You know what I mean? Like it might try to pass it an argument in terms of like what the current request is, or the response, or other things from that, or it might pass some other things to it. When we make this function, we can use those arguments if that library is giving us any, or not. We don't have to use them. Our library, or the callback could be called with a bunch of arguments. Doesn't mean we have to ever define those in our function or use them in our function. It's not going to break anything. You know, and kind of going through with it. Just like this, I can do something like, to give you like an example, let me do this. So let's make another function just to kind of show this, because it's a little weird. Yeah. Okay. So I got something like this. This is another function. I could always call this function. Let me do this here because this one's gonna like blow up. And we won't ever be able to see it. I could always do something like cats, hey, one. I don't know. Let's give it like an array of shit, you know, stuff like that. So we have like a bunch of arguments for this. And that's totally fine. Like we can do this. Yeah, see? Totally fine. Nothing else happens or kind of go through and stuff like that. Let's go back up. Whoop. Where'd my meow go? Oh my God. Okay, I made a mistake. Okay, I should let's kill this for a second. Let's just like comment this bad boy out. Okay, now let's try this again. Clear, run. See? Nothing else happened. Like it's totally fine. We could always put other arguments. I can always call a function with a bunch of arguments, but my function, this thing never actually ever uses them. You know what I mean? It doesn't do anything with those. Same thing with callbacks. Our callback is going to call this and going to call it with a bunch of arguments, potentially. You mean maybe? But our actual function that we define could use those if there happens to be some. Like there might be for like an error or for other things like that, or not. It doesn't have to. You know, we can do it. We can completely ignore that and do nothing with it. So let's kill this. Let's cut that out. Okay. And so basically what we're saying here is we're saying when this load event, whenever this finishes, whenever this finishes,
call this function. And our function is this. We have a little thing, and all we're doing is like, oh, our page, and it's this dot response. This, of course, refers to this orec object. You know what I mean? It's like that's where this came from. We're extending off from that. Remember, this is attached to the object of which we were called from. So if I'm a method, if I'm a function that's a method to the object, this refers to that object that I'm a method of. And that's what this in this instance refers to. So there's a lot of things inside of this because it's the entire is this entire XML HTTP request object. There's going to be a response. There's going to be a header. There's going to be what we sent. There's going to be the different header information. There's going to be like how big it is, how many bytes is it, when did it take place. All that information is embedded somewhere inside this object because it's inside this XML request object. I'm just interested in looking at what the response was, like the plain text version of the response, which is this giant JavaScript or JSON object. And so then, we tell it to open, and I'm doing a GET request on this URL, and then I actually send it. This actually sends the request to the server. Now, this is going to take a while. This could take a really long time and stuff like that. But we know that when this is done, when this finishes, when the send finishes, it's going to call this function. So anything I have under here, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, console log. We're probably going to see this immediately. And we'll see this one immediately too. Clear. See how those went first? Even though they're at the bottom, one was on top, one was at the bottom. These happened first. Nothing inside of here kind of existed first. In fact, even if I were to do something like really, you don't do the. Did I misspell that? No, I didn't. That's totally fine. It looks like I don't know why it's complaining. It'd be nice if I could spell. Response. There we go. I can look for the response here after the sent has taken place, and it won't have existed yet, or it'll be empty or undefined. So I can do something like this. So this is the same as this here. This is the exact same thing. This is actually refers to exactly the same thing inside of here. They're exactly equivalent. I can look inside of this, and I can almost guarantee like there's nothing going to be there. It's either going to be empty, like just completely empty, or it's going to be undefined. So let's try that. Let's see what happens. Yeah, see, do you see the response? And it was empty. It is defined. It's there, but there's nothing inside of it. There's nothing, there wasn't anything there yet. Because at this point, when this code runs and we get to this line, or this code, goes off, it doesn't wait here. We're not waiting for this to finish. We're just going to keep on executing code. We're just going to keep on going down to this line, to this line, to this line. All the while, this is still sending stuff to the server. We're still asking and going back from the server and like downloading this data. This is happening first. And since inside this response, this response object hasn't been filled yet, it's not safe to use it here because we don't know when it could be filled, when it's going to be done. This is going to run immediately. That's why it was empty. And then this one runs, and then this one runs. And then when this finally finishes, this function is called. And now this response has something inside of it. Now that response has a JSON object inside of it now. Now it's safe to use this, but it's only safe to use this in here. In fact, I could just do this and will this work? Actually, I don't. This should work, right? Yes. Well, let's see. Let's see. I could do something like this. I think this will work as well. Yeah. Ha. So there you go. There you go. So I could also just directly call it the object since I know what it is. This is just a more generic way of like, it could be any object. I don't care yet what it could be. It's whatever I named it. And if you wanted to happen in order, you'd use the Pyramid of Doom stuff from lecture, but not actually with any doom. Yeah. So you could have a bunch of just kind of like jump functions of kind of going through and doing other things with it. So I could always have, um, I could do another thing inside of here, inside this response listener. I could have another thing. Let's call this y. I want to do this be a let too. I want this to be local. Let y, 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 y. I'm gonna do things inside of here. I'm gonna kind of tab that. So it's a little easier to read. Have other kind of stuff going through. And let's find another. Reddit. Uh, okay, here we go. Our college rant. That's always good. That's actually pretty. I really like that picture. Um, Jason. Okay, there we go. It's kind of my mood at the moment, just a oh shit face. Okay, let's do. Boop, 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 boop. Come on. There we go. Cool. Okay. So now I have this request list. Well, actually, I could call itself again, but it'd be like, oh, that'd be like a recursive loop, wouldn't it? That'd be really weird. This code would actually work too, but then we'd just be hitting ourselves again and again and again if I had like a just recursively call itself. So that actually no, that wouldn't work because I actually called this O request response, um, but it still would loop. You know what I mean? It just would ever show what else is going through. That's really funny. I hadn't thought about that. Let me switch this back to this. No, I'm gonna leave it. Um, so let's say something like I don't know, function next. I'm gonna put it was a z because we're cool. I'm not gonna give it any arguments, and let's just do the same thing we did here. Now in this case, if I were to do, I need to do this here. The y would not. I don't believe y would work in this response. Our second page. Okay. And then this goes here. So now we're jumping. We're not having like the same callback doom because I'm not defining a function inside of a function. I could do that here. There's nothing stopping me from doing that. In fact, let's do a third one that's inside of that. Let's actually do a third thing. Let's do that. I'm actually, just to do like another one. Let's do another one of this. I'm going to call it a different name, though I don't need to. This Y, I don't need to create another name for it, but I'm going to do it just for simplicity's sake, just so it's a little easier to follow. I'll use the same URL. I don't care to change that. But instead of defining things here, I could just use like an arrow function. I could just be like, don't want that. There we go. Equals that. And I don't know. Console.log. Really? You're not going to let me to use arrow function in this? It's not using a version of JavaScript that can do that? There. Try doing ES6 then. I can't believe that isn't by default like ES6. That's really weird. That's really weird. Jesus. I'm going to be, don't want that. Here we go. Plus this dot response. Okay, that should work. Load that third page. I'm gonna put like a lot of junk in front of this just so it's easier to see. Okay. Let's clear this. Let's actually run this. We got one. Oh, third page is undefined. Oh no, that's not good. Why is it undefined? that shouldn't be undefined. That should legit work. Um, hmm. Did the second one actually go through? Well, I don't care to see this. Let's like kill, let's do this. I just want to see if this one actually gets here. I want to make sure that it's not dead. I actually don't want to see it. Ooh. Okay. Let's try that. Okay. Clear this, run. Yeah, the second one does go through, but the third doesn't. Why is that? Is it really not understanding the arrow function should totes work inside of here like that? Uh, yeah, that is totally fine. There shouldn't be, unless I like misspelled response. Oh, I bet I did. I bet I'm an idiot. Yeah, I misspelled response, I think. Yes, I did. I'm just a moron. That's it. I just can't spell if my life depended on it. Uh, Jesus Christ. So let's kill. I don't want to see the response from this either because it's too big. So let's just do this. Kill that. Kill this. Okay, let's try again. Second, third, first, second, and now the third comes in. It actually comes in pretty quick. So yeah, I could have just kept defining things inside of here. Inside this arrow function, I could have defined a whole nother thing. So we're doing these in serial. This one happens first. This one happens first. We call this function. When this is done, we go here. We're now in this function. We know that it's safe to use this OREC object response because it's set now. We know this would only get called if this was actually set, if this was actually filled out. So we know it's safe to use it now. Now we're gonna go through, we're making another asynchronous request, doing a bunch of stuff. It calls, our next was a Z because we're 90s cool. We spit out this other thing. Now this response is safe to use. It's filled in. We know that there has to be something inside of here because this is only gonna get called when this is done. And likewise, when this is done, we do a third and we kind of keep on going through. And so it's kind of a quick example of just like us going from like jumping from one to another using just callbacks. Is that kind of making sense? Hopefully that's like a little more clear of how or why, and hopefully me dicking around with code and actually trying to get to work like did something. What else can we do? Do you want to see more things with callbacks, or I could do some stuff in object things as well? There's a better way, there's a better way of doing asynchronous code used promises, but we're going to talk about that on Monday. I'm going to save that for Monday. That's the more modern way of doing asynchronous code because there's a lot better functionality. You can do a lot more things with promises than you can with just callbacks. Although they are equivalent. You can go back and forth between the two. You can go from promises to callbacks and callbacks to promises. It's actually fairly easy to do that. But the promise API or the promise syntax and the promise based libraries give you a lot more functionality and a lot more abilities to do things. And it works in a more JavaScripty way than these. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they are objects as well. They're just functions. You know what I mean? We're asking for something to call back. It's just a function. We're just saying run this function when this other thing gets done. That's it. That's the only thing that's taking place. It seems really complicated at first, but that's all that's really happening. I mean, we're waiting for some event to take place, and then we're saying when this event takes place, call this. And then inside that new function, we know it's safe to continue on with our code. We cannot continue on with our code here. This is like going on a whole separate track. So we're here. So it's like a wholly separate track now. Like they've like split. Our code is almost like completely split from here. We have this code. This code's going off doing its own thing. I mean, having fun, whatever. And now we have this other code here that's like it's also doing a bit of its own thing. You know what I mean? And the order of those could be completely different depending on timing and mechanisms and other things like that. And they could be interspersed between one another because there's literally only one thread that's running this JavaScript. And so in actuality, it's changing back and forth and actually going to be like running some of this and running some of that. And then, it's your operating system and other stuff that's like determining how and when that's going to take place. You can't set that up. That's something. Yeah, your operating system is determining when things get actually run on the CPU or not. So this is almost like we like split the timeline. You know what I mean? Another like two separate timelines kind of taking place. And this will just keep on going. You know what I mean? We can write whatever code we want inside of here. And that's fine. Especially if we have like other things that we want to do. You know what I mean? Like we don't, as long as this code doesn't need anything of what we just called or doesn't need this HTML file. If we have stuff that can go on and doesn't need this HTML file, then that's fine. We just keep on going. And like, okay, I want you to grab a HTML file and do something with it. Cool. But then I want this to like keep on doing something else. Like I could have another one inside of here. Let's call this CC. Okay. And this could also just go through, and these would now, this CC and OREC would be happening at literally the same time. They would be happening in parallel to one another. You know what I mean? And they'd both be grabbing pages. Neither one is dependent on the other. In fact, there's neither way that they can really communicate with one another if we do it like this. If we wanted them to if we wanted to have a space where we had the result of both this first page of OQ and the result of CC, we would have to do something like this. We have to do a chain of callbacks. We have to have one callback and then construct that and do another callback and do another. We have to do them in serial as like a chain. This is doing them in parallel, and now that they're in parallel, there's no way for them to come back together to work and do things like that. They're like completely on their own. They're on their own path right now. That makes sense? I know that can be a little confusing as well, but that's like a more parallel. That's like us actually run this in parallel, and as long as we don't need that, you could. Jesus, I'm trying to think. Like, I guess you could set up like you could do something really stupid like using global objects and stuff like that to like have a common space to write to or something. You know what I mean? That you guarantee you're writing to somewhere you're not going to disrupt what the other one is doing or something. Like you could, yeah. I mean, you could do something like that. That's usually not a good idea. Like if I had like a global array, and then each one of these is like filling out its own thing in that global array or something. So like, I don't know if I had, let's do something stupid. Don't do this at home. Var r equals this. Okay. And now I do want to pass something. Oh, but I can't here, huh? I guess I still could. Yeah, I still could. You know what I mean? It'd be something from like what I entered inside of here or something that's grabbed from it. But like inside of here, I would like inside this callback, I'd have like this request listener do something to this array, like add like, you know, I don't know, something like, r I equals, object response or something like that. So I could do something like this, and like I could like have I be like an argument here or something that I'm passing through, or I could have that be global as well or something really stupid. There are ways you can get around doing something like that. But it's not that you still have an issue though in doing something like that, and that you don't know when it's actually done. So when is it safe to use after I even done that? Say now I've done that both, and now Ari is gonna have all the results of HTTP requests that I made. you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But now I don't know, like, when is RE full? We don't know. We have no idea to know that. When is it safe to use this things in RE? When do we know that it's going to be filled and not be completely empty or other things like that? We can't. We have to do something stupid like, while, RE, less than, RE, I don't know, length, less than two, do nothing, or something stupid like that, But these are all terrible ideas. Like you would never really want to do something like this. Um, you know, uh, you can, but this is just not. It's not something you should be doing. You don't want to be paralyzing those out anyway. And then making those separate requests and filling up something like you just don't know. You just don't know when those things are actually done or when things actually get finished because you don't know the order of which the things are going to go through. So hopefully that explains a little bit more about how the stuff works, about what we're doing, a little bit more about callbacks and some of the things with that. Um, Let me know if you have any other, you can just feel free to write in the chat if you have any other questions and things with that. I might just go through a couple other small things. So like, I don't know, var, I don't know, QQ equals, let's do some stuff with classes. Function, cat, and, actually I want to call this I don't want to do this here. I mean, I totally can. It's just, I'd rather not. Function cat. I'm going to create. I'm going to create a constructor for this. Something like name and I don't know, color or something like that. Something stupid. I'm going to say something like, let's see. How do I want to do this? It's var let empty object x dot name equals this dot name x dot color equals this dot color. Okay, and let's give it like a method. X dot talk equals words log. Oh, wrong one. Oh, wrong one again. Words. Yeah, that should be cool. That's all good. Okay. Now I can do something like this. I could do my bunny and white. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, I didn't return this. This isn't going to work. I want to, let's figure out. Const, yeah, if you have a function with a callback, will this in refer to the original array in the call. If you have a function with a callback, okay, yeah. Oh, no, so unless we're using if we're using strict, if we're this only works in the context of it's bounded to the object of which that method was called from. So if a function is attached to an object or comes from an object, therefore it's like a method, like this. This x talk has a function. Actually, but this one's a bad example because we're using arrow functions and arrow functions don't bind this. But this one works here. You know what I mean? I have this function here. I can still use this. This is referring to the original this object, that we're kind of doing things with and other stuff like that. It's kind of coming from here or whatever the thing is that we're building the thing off from, and kind of returning that from. So it's bounded to the object of which it was called from, the instance of which it was called from. That could be different. So like it's especially useful when we don't know the name of what that object is going to be. We just wanted to refer to the thing of which it is. So in this example here above, here, let me uncomment this. In this example here, I could always say like orec response or whatever. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. There's the same thing kind of going through here because orec is still defined as a var. It's hoisted to the top of here, and it's actually defined. This object is defined, and I know what the name of it is. But say I don't know. I'm building a function that I want to use for multiple types of objects and for multiple objects and multiple things. And I don't know what the name is going to be beforehand. There's no way for me to ever know that. I can use this, will always refer to the object of which this thing was called from. You know what I mean? So I know that it's a way for me to specify what's the object of which I'm a method, what's the object of which I was called from. It allows me to get full access to that object and all the things inside of it. Anything that might have been set or changed, any other methods that are inside of it, any other attributes that are inside. It's just a way for me to like, you kind of mess around, with some of these things and kind of do some stuff with it. Does that make a little more sense? A function with a callback. Array referencing. No, not to the array. No, it won't refer to this array. This always refers to the object, this thing of which it was called from. It's just like I have this thing here as well. Here's another this. You mean if I had this actually running? This now refers to the object that came from here. It refers to y. It's this y object and stuff like that. And it might be even like a different scope, because I maybe don't have access to y and other things. Likewise, this shouldn't work because this is an arrow function. I'm surprised that bounded it to, that's funny. Yeah, that totally shouldn't have worked. But it did, right? It totally did work. Yeah. Huh. It must be script. I must be like using a weird version of JavaScript. There must be something weird going with this Babel thing that it's doing arrow functions wrong. Normally this should not have worked because this isn't bounded to arrow functions don't bind this. Maybe like because it's a callback that's somewhat different. Because in the callback, maybe it's from where it got called from, and it's bounded to that. I bet I'm not using strict. I bet it's going to the next highest object that's in its scope or something like that. Because I've already used this outside the context of a function in the global scope, then this always refers to the global object, unless I'm using like use strict. If I'm here and I do something like oh, that's not working. That's not what I want. No, how do I maybe it won't let me do it here. I'll have to look that up again. But anyway, yeah, it's just stuff like that. So in terms of Project Zero, if we could use the callback as an argument, the original array. You're saying like in the context of Project Zero. Yeah. As long as you're not using as long as you're not using the arrow function, that should work just fine. That should be bounded to this. I would try it. I mean, it depends on where you're calling that function from. Because where that function is and what it's stemming from, what method it's a part of, is going to determine what this is bounded to. But yeah, that should. Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious. Let's try. Let's actually see. Let's say I have. Let's do my thing again. Let yy equal an array. I'm going to put some stuff inside of it. This. Just be confusing. True. Or it's not capital, is it? Is it true? There we go. Okay, so we got a number, a string, and a bool inside of here. So I could always do something like yy dot cool times equals function. I don't know. Nothing. I'm not gonna have anything with it. And that's gonna be something like, let's just do like a console log. So like, I wonder if I could just do this, right? Maybe. I'm getting a feeling that's not going to work, but no, Jesus, we can try. What's the complaining here? They don't have a semicolon, I bet. Is that what it's complaining about? No. Am I screwing something up? It's giving me like a little missing semicolon. Oh yeah, it's right there. It's right freaking there. Okay, it doesn't matter. You can miss semicolons. They don't matter. So let's. I want to get rid of all this callback garbage. So let's do this. I don't know if you can hear someone being very loud. You're being very loud, Horatio. This. Oh, I need to actually call this stupid thing too. I need to actually do it. So let's say yy dot cool times that. Actually, like run it. Okay, so clear, run. Oh, what is it screwing up with? Why? Oh, because this can't be anything anymore, right? Yeah, because this is referenced. I just made that invisible, and that's, where does this even come from again? I don't think I had another reference to it anywhere. Did I? Do I? No, I don't think so. Oh, here. Let me just kill this. I don't need this line anymore. And I don't want to do anything with it. Okay. Clear, run. Jesus Christ. I don't want anything with OREC. Like, it's not a big deal. Let's just do this. So it's still defined. We're just not going to do anything with it. Ah, that worked. Did you see that? Went at the very top. Ah, Jesus. What else called that stupid thing? Why was I getting anything called? See? What is this? It's true, because that's the first argument, or that's the second index. So this does refer to it does refer to the array which it came from. Yeah, that's totally legit. Why did I choose a let? Just because I wanted to. You know, it was just a personal choice. I could have had this being a const. That should have still that would have worked as well. So I can be like const, and this couldn't change anymore. It'll still work. What is, oh, this is still working, isn't it? This one. Yeah, I don't want you to do anything either. Clear run. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so why why did this work? I'm actually late. I'm gonna finish this up real quick, but then I have like another meeting I need to actually run to. Um, but so I have a const here. It's an array. I have three things inside of this array: a number, a string, a boolean. I attached, since arrays are just objects, I can attach a new method to it. I can attach a new thing to anything I want to it. Even though yy is a const, I can't reassign yy, but I can add and change and modify yy, like what's inside of it. So I just created a new method. So I said cool, yy cool times equals this function, and all this function does is does a console log, and it looks to see what this is. It's still using the keyword this, and then like what's the second attribute in this. So basically this is referring to yy, and the second attribute in yy is true. You know what I mean? And it kind of comes from that. And then I actually ran the function. So this is assigning, creating the function, and now this is actually like using it, actually doing something with it. That makes sense, Sabby? I'm happy to go through and like walk through this again in office hours and other things as well. Okay, I really need to get going. I'm already late for another meeting, but I had a pleasure working and being with you all. 4 viewers is a big deal. That's a lot. I'm going to post this on our YouTube page tonight. So if you wanted to see if you wanted to see me do any of this again or look through the stuff, it'll be up there. And I have office hours today at 12, and then again tomorrow at 12 as well. So I will, if you need any help in your assignment or the upcoming quiz or anything else, let me know. Come to office hours, ask a question on Piazza, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, catch you guys later. Have a good one.